first lady that's going, first lady is because they're giving you their time that you're supposed to sit there and, anyway, let's get into it. And that's why I look at some of you younger women and I'm like, what do y'all think this is? Who's this working with? And if this is the case, let's negotiate a deal up front. Let me know how much it costs so we can go ahead and get to the sex. Hello, hello. How are you? I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. I just want to say that I do love your show and I respect it.
Okay. How old are you?
I'll be 30 in July, so I'm 29.
So you heard the starting part. A lot of women today almost seem like they want to be paid to be women. What do you think about that?
It's kind of true. It's true.
Okay.
I can admit we might have the wrong mindset overall with relationships.
Okay. Where did it come from?
I guess Disney fairy tales. Our parents, aunts.
Are you single?
I am. I just got out of the situation actually, and I don't know if it's something that you talked about on your show before, but I think it's something that would be good for your show.
Okay. With your last situation?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to it, but I don't know any Disney story where a man had to pay for a woman to be a
I
woman.
mean, not exactly pay for her, but you know, the princess and just that type of thing.
Okay. The Disney book. No, I don't. I don't. I'm trying to
No?
understand, like, where is it that a princess? But anyway, what's the story you have?
Okay, so I'm just wondering, in your opinion, how do you feel about women who have been in the industry in general? I know you respect the hustle.
Say again.
Your phone's going slow. Women who have been in the industry, like the nightlife.
Let me put this headphone in because something's going with the audio. And somebody answer
Okay.
your question again.
How do you feel about women who have been in the nightlife?
Women working in the nightlife.
Yes, and then finding a real, authentic relationship.
Depends on what you mean by nightlife. You mean like dancing or something like that?
Dancing, bartending, being an entrepreneur on top of that.
No.
You know what? It's not gonna happen.
Well, I mean, those are three different things.
Hmm.
Being a
But
dancer, um, I don't know many women who walk away psychologically balanced, looking at men in a healthy way from dancing.
because we expect to be taken
Because it's
care
a
of, kind of like
game.
the
Well,
face of love.
I mean, it's like being a bartender. You see people at their worst. Um, and so, I mean, can it happen? Sure. Is it likely? Not really. Not healthy
Right.
because where the men that are going there are going for what reason?
To be entertained.
So,
Something that they're not getting at home,
well,
correct?
whatever it is, it's kind of hard to undo what you. If we see you out making money dancing, that's going to always be. It's going to be in a guy's mind. So now bartending, depending upon where you're tending bar, but that's still, that's not like dancing. But when you say entrepreneur, what does that mean?
E-commerce business, e-commerce sales.
See, the issue I have with all this kind of stuff is it's so hard to understand what it is. Um,
A small business online of selling products.
you could be flipping stuff on eBay or Amazon. That's
Having
fine.
your own. Okay.
Okay, but is it something that you know as long as it's legal? But is it something you plan on doing uh, for the rest of your life, or is it just something you're doing now?
Are you talking about the e-commerce business
Yeah, yeah,
or?
yeah. Because we talked
Yeah.
about dancing, we talked about bartending and stripping. Those are hustles,
Right.
short-term hustles. But selling something online, even if you're just drop shipping or whatever, but are we talking about building a real business or are we talking about a hustle?
No, building a real business, having a private label, having actual products, not just drop shipping,
Okay. Well,
and being a small business. But I know I think you said before, if your business cannot benefit the man, it's not as important. I mean, those
Well,
weren't your exact words, but you get what I mean.
that's the broad. Also depends on the what you're doing. I mean, if a man wants a wife and kids, what comes first? How can what would something if you can't do it all? What gives?
What gives? If
You got a husband. If you're married and you got kids, how you gonna do all that and the business?
you're right, it would be hard to juggle, but it happens.
Does it?
I think so. I've seen successful women entrepreneurs, but
Black women?
okay, I've seen a lot of successful women, black entrepreneurs, but majority of the time they are single.
What do you get from that knowledge right there?
Um, it's hard to balance
There is no
that type of
balance.
lifestyle.
There is no balance.
Okay.
Because when you get an entrepreneur, you're generally getting boss bitch energy.
But what if you don't give off that energy?
A blind squirrel will find a nut. Somebody got to win the lotto, but I don't deal in what ifs. I deal in what is.
Okay.
Do you want to be the provider, or do you want your husband to be the provider?
I would want my husband to be the provider. I don't want to pay significant bills.
Okay, so again, it's one thing to have to take care of yourself, but it's another
Hmm.
thing to still be trying to be a mother, a wife, and a business owner. You cannot have it all. You got to give something up.
Okay.
You either
So
you give up the husband. Generally, to give up the husband is what you give up.
as a black woman, that's
Yeah,
normally what we give
yeah,
up. Okay.
because that's what you choose.
So if as a black woman that's not something that I would want to give up, do you suggest that I just stop my business and just search for that
Well, now
provider male,
that's a
the
different question.
husband?
That's a different question. All right. Why? Before I answer that, why can non-black women seem to balance being wives and running businesses like you're talking about, and being mothers, and not have to give up one or the other?
I think maybe so. More white and non-black women were brought up to be that way.
Let's just go. If we go with that,
Hmm.
how do you change that energy? Because here's the thing. Before I don't want to get too far down that path because that'll take us off target. Okay, are you a wife? Is the question.
I
See,
am not a wife right now.
a lot of women ask about later on, but the big question is, do you want to be a part of your husband's team, or do you want a partner?
I want to be part of my husband's team.
All right,
I feel like I'm a better asset by being a team player than me being the lead myself.
all right.
Honestly.
How old do you say you are again?
I'll be 30 in July.
All right. Have you always wanted to be married?
No,
When did this happen?
probably when I started watching you.
And that's the problem. And this is the problem because so many of our women start to recognize later in life, close around 30, that this isn't the real play. So
Hmm.
it's not as though the men are looking for anything different. It's like you have to be what those guys are looking for.
Hmm.
So yeah, you got to have a job right now because you got to be able to take care of yourself. And most women want to be able to have a man who can provide, but men who can provide come with rules.
They do. And a lot of men who provide step outside of the marriage as well.
So
And that's okay, right? I'm just asking.
I'm asking you,
It's something,
can you handle it? Here's a question: can you handle it if they do?
yes.
There's a reason. I know a lot of women don't like that, but a lot of women today want it all. I'm like
Hmm.
the cleanup Betty Wright, the cleanup woman. I mean, grandmama, granddaddy. I don't know. I feel a empathy from women today because you've been told you could have it all
Yeah.
and you can't.
Okay.
And it's about choices and trade-offs. What is more important? Do you want a man who doesn't step out? Because I'm not saying every guy will, but I'm saying if he does and you don't find out about it, what difference does it make?
It doesn't make a difference.
So why go look for the
But
problem?
then
That's my point.
being in the nightlife a little bit, I think you're more open minded to those type of things because you see more. So I think my mindset might be different from the average woman.
Average what woman?
Average
I think a lot of black
modern.
women want.
I'm gonna say modern. I'm
I
not
think a
gonna
lot
put a
of. I
color on
think a
it, but
lot
just
of sisters want. I think a lot of sisters have a fantasy view of marriage because I don't. You want alpha male providers, alpha male looks, alpha male height, all this alpha. Then you want strict loyalty and monogamy, and like that doesn't exist, not
right
in
fairy
mass.
tale.
So it's about choices and trade offs.
Hmm.
And at 30 years old, I would say, do you want children?
I have one child.
How old?
She's 5.
You got to be able to answer that question too. Because guys are always going to ask, why didn't you marry the child's father?
Right.
And women don't like when I say that you don't typically get higher than your baby daddy.
Mm. Okay.
And what would that put? Would that put you in? Is your ex a provider male?
I wouldn't say so. Not right now at this moment. But but he has been a provider male.
Okay.
Yeah.
Men look at
So there's
predicate.
nothing wrong with him. He's a great guy. He's a great father. But
Right.
people
Of
go through trials and tribulations. I'm gonna say that.
course.
So
I mean,
yeah,
life happens to everybody.
yeah.
You know.
And it's getting back up, and that's what's going on. But me personally, we just grew apart. But I
There's a.
know for you, you feel like marriage is not all about love. I know that as
Well,
well.
it's not.
It's not. So
It's not. I mean, we can say that shit when people live to be 40 years old. Okay, let's just take. Do you think it's about love?
no,
Did you used to?
I did.
All right. What if we live to be
I
300?
did. I used to think it was a fairy tale.
Well, so is it just over between you and your child's father forever?
Yes.
Irreconcilable?
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest, man.
We're great friends. We get along. We're amazing
I get
couples.
it, but you got to look at the men who will come next. Russell Wilson and Sierra are in the news again. Why do they stay in the news so much?
Because Russell Wilson is completely opposite of Sierra's previous child's father.
They stay in the news so much for that because so many men look and say, why did a guy who's a Super Bowl winning quarterback go choose to become a baby daddy? I mean, a stepfather. And you wouldn't see Tom Brady doing that. And far too many guys today, especially black men, are starting to say we're not stepping up to be stepdaddies. They're just
Mm-hmm.
not. Especially the kind of men especially the men who are in the top 20%,
Mm-hmm.
who can call some shots. So what does that leave women? What does that leave a lot of women? If you're looking strictly for husbands, if men who are in the marrying category aren't looking to be stepfathers, what does that mean?
I didn't hear the last part because my phone rang.
If men who are in the husband category are not looking to
Mm-hmm.
be stepfathers, what does that leave women with children who want to be married?
Single or sidelines.
And that's an unfortunate reality.
But it's the truth.
That's going to prohibit you more than anything else, the kid. And I'm not supposed to say it, but it's the truth. Especially when you start talking about a man who can make some choices. So, ladies, I don't know. And why we're on this is because women in general have been told the opposite. And that's where all this confusion is coming in. Y'all aren't getting the result. So I'll ask you a question before you run. If you're not getting back with your child's father, how do you think you can make your how do you think you can make your child an asset to the kind of man you want to marry?
How can I make my child an asset?
To the kind of man you would want to marry?
Um, I feel like I would have to train her to be an asset, as in get her ready for life in general. Put her in classes, make sure she's smart, make sure she's not put in that time to make her a better person. Correct? I
I'm
think
asking. No, I'm asking because I'm
I'm just
asking.
asking, am I right?
No,
Or
the question is how to make your child an asset to that man.
right.
That makes her an okay person. But how can you doubt? And this is a question all women are going to have to answer for themselves. How are my children benefiting you as my husband?
I never thought about that.
Well, and that's the
What
problem.
would you suggest? I'm just wondering because I'm
Um, I would say it's going to be extremely difficult. But what I would suggest is women who actually think about it from the man's side, understanding that my child today is a liability because it costs. So number one, is she well mannered, well behaved, smart, taken care of? Does she understand? And do I really believe that you're going to come second to my husband?
mm,
Is my husband going to come first? Or is it we're a package deal? If you're a package deal, that's no deal. I'll be honest, it's a package deal, that's no deal because let's say you and I were to get married, you got a daughter, right?
mm-hmm,
And let's say we have 2 kids together
mm-hmm,
and your child is 5. So 10 years from now, your daughter comes home and says, Kevin touched me, looked at me getting out of the shower. What happens next?
the relationship would have to end.
Huh?
That's not something the relationship would end immediately.
Because your daughter said I looked at her getting out of the shower.
Why would that person even be close to the bathroom to see her?
Mm-hmm.
That would be the thing. You have to defend your seed. You have to defend your child.
Mm-hmm. But you also remember you got 2 of my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I should never listen to it. That means I should avoid women like you because off the rip, your desire to defend your child
Mm-hmm.
blew up 2. You got 2 of
The
my
home.
kids, and off rip, your protective instinct says fuck everything, including those other 2 kids.
Understood.
Do you?
No, I
You said the
understand.
relationship would have to end. So what
I
would you
mean,
tell? What would you tell? What would you tell our 2 children?
that's a tough situation.
No, you said the relationship would have to end.
But
So I need.
it would have to end because
But what
I
would you
would listen
tell?
to any of my kids. If I had 3 kids, one by someone else and 2 by my
But
future
what I'm telling
husband,
you, what I'm saying is what we tell our 2 children.
your half sister stated this happened and this is not a comfortable situation and we have to part ways.
You get the
We have to
fuck
figure
out.
it out.
You can get the fuck out.
Because I'm not the one paying the bills.
No, you know, because you're not taking my kids. See,
Hmm.
that's what I mean. Y'all act like y'all got too much power.
It's not power. I'm really
First of
being
all, you didn't
humble.
even. First off, you didn't even. I just said if she said it, you didn't
Yeah.
even. You didn't even. You didn't even question whether or not the claim was there
Hmm.
because that's your child. And that's why I'm saying your child can never be an asset to anybody because that's the bomb that's always there.
Okay.
Because and what the fuck? What could a man do about that? I could provide everything. We could
Hmm.
have children, and automatically you're gonna jump off rip, go for your child, your child. So don't ask me to treat your child
Hmm.
like it's biologically mine when you be willing to blow up my biological children's shit for something else. And you know kids can say anything.
They can, but you have to protect your kids at all costs,
Then then
and you have to talk.
then no.
Hmm.
Then leave. No. No. See, I want you to understand that you have no empathy for men. It's about you and your kid.
Hmm.
I'm somebody's child.
Yes.
What about those children we have together? Ma'am, you're not right in this.
I'm not debating you. I
But,
understand where you're coming from.
we're debating the concept
Yeah,
that you
I
got to protect
understand.
your kids at all costs. So then you need to go be with your child's father, and y'all need to work that out so that can never come up.
Mm.
Because let's switch the situation. If I'm that child's biological father, and she comes out of the shower, and 10 years later, Daddy looked at me a certain kind of way, and I'm her biological dad, then what do you say?
That
See,
wouldn't happen.
but you notice how you couldn't pull rank on me? You couldn't pull that. We got to separate. You couldn't pull rank on me. You couldn't pull biological rank. You want to, but you're like, well, damn, it's his kid too.
It would have to be in situation as well.
And you'd have to get the fuck
If she
out.
said that,
And
if she
you'd
said
have
that
to get out.
immediately,
And you'd have to get out.
understood. I completely understand that.
So what would the end would be for who? You'd be leaving.
Hmm.
But that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about the end situation. I'd be leaving with my child.
I understand, Kevin.
And I want everybody in the audience to understand this is why you don't deal with women with children, because, especially in our community, there is no blending families when this kind of stuff comes up. Because single mothers are too used to pulling rank.
Okay.
This is why single mothers are potentially so dangerous, because you're not used to having to actually split the responsibility. It's your child. And that's fine. But then why should any man have to deal with that?
Understood.
So I feel sorry for you ladies, but this is the positions a lot of women put themselves in, and then we're supposed to do what about it? Because if it was biologically my child, you said it would be over. Why would you not question your child? Why would you not question your dad? Why would you not just say, girl, whatever, that's your daddy? Why would you blow up a marriage? Why would you just believe her?
Why would I just believe my daughter?
Yeah, children lie.
Grown
Are you
men
kidding
lie
me?
too. Excuse me.
I said, look. And you said grown men lie.
Your phone is freezing.
Okay, you said grown men lie too. I said
But
she's okay, and this is my
yeah.
point. And this is my point. We go all the way back to the club and the bartending, and that's why I mentioned your mentality is warped. You don't trust men.
Mm-hmm. But
See,
if I never brought that aspect up, would your sentiments be the same?
we'd have got there eventually, because it's all ultimately going to come down to how you feel about men.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm always on task. You may not know why I'm asking what I'm asking, but the point of the matter is, whatever issue or whatever the way you look at men is just going to taint. It's going to color your perception of men throughout everything else.
Okay.
And it would be better for you to understand that and men to understand that, and just leave each other alone. Because, man, do you think highly of men? No.
No.
Then go get a girlfriend.
No.
But thing is, you're asking a man to be a provider, male, and this and that. You want a man to do what he's supposed to, and you don't even give men a baseline of respect. You don't. You say,
I don't want to. I'm not going to argue with you, Kevin. I understand where you're coming from.
but I say, do you think highly of men?
And I'm working on my thought process of men. So I'm
That's
not
fair.
ready. I'm not.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not
fair.
ready for a marriage yet. I do have a lot of things to work on, and I do watch your videos a lot. I can take in what you're saying 110%, and
Oh, I
I
get it. You're not
myself.
being rude. I get it. But what I'm saying is, ultimately, you got to put yourself in a man's position. Even, let's say, when you're ready, when your thought press is ready, you got to think of it this way. Why should I, as a man, risk a rehabbed woman versus getting a woman who automatically thinks highly of men?
Okay.
And you got to look at what a woman does. You got to look at a woman's track record. If she has children, all these things come into play on how she thinks about men. And it may be better than it was, but does that mean a man should risk marriage to that woman? And especially the kind of men you ladies say you want, they got all the leverage in the world, because we go back to all it takes for you today is the allegation. Now I'm gonna leave you with this. Chris Brown, month ago, he was accused of rape by a woman, right?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah. She accused him, filed a police report, some $20 million lawsuit.
Wow.
Lying. Not only was she lying, came to show, got text messages and videos and voice messages showing that she just really was a scorned lover.
Mm.
See, men got so much to prove today to where if a woman doesn't have a track record of being siding with men or being pro male or whatever, it's just too much of a risk.
Understood.
So good conversation though.
All
Good
right.
back and
Thank you,
forth.
Kevin.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.
All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I got